So I want to talk about people of the Bible again. I want to talk specifically today about the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. So a little bit of backstory. The Jews did not like Samaria at all. In fact, they would go around Samaria to get to where they needed to go if that was in their way. Like they would go clean around it. Even if going through it would take up less time, they would go around it. This isn't what Jesus does. Jesus goes right to it. And when he goes to the well and sees a woman there, who he knew she would be there, he says, "Please get me a drink." And she's very sarcastic. She says, "Well, you're a Jew and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" And he says, "Well, if you only knew what gifts God could give you and who you were talking to." And she says, "The water here is very deep and you don't have a rope or a bucket." And he says, "If you drink this water, you will be thirsty again. But if you drink from the water that I can give you, you will never be thirsty again. You will get the living water." And she says, "Well, how do I get this living water? I want it so I can never be thirsty again." And Jesus says, "Go get your husband." She says, "Well, I don't have a husband." "That's right. In fact, you've had 5 husbands. And the one you're living with now, he's not your husband." And so at this point, she's like, "Oh, okay. So are you a prophet?" And he replies with, "The time is coming soon where the Messiah will return. In fact, the time is here." And she says, "Do you know the Messiah?" And Jesus says, "I am the Messiah." And this woman, she goes and she tells her entire town about the Messiah, making her the first mass evangelist. How cool is that? Think about that.
We are the army. Today, the cloud of the glory of Jesus is going to fill the streets of this city today. Come on, Jesus!
Okay, so I'm assuming you guys have heard this sound.
It's you and me. And if only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up.
My question is, why would you want to? Is tribulation the end of the world? No. It's just the beginning. Because after tribulation, after God and Satan are done, there's going to be a brand new heaven and a brand new earth. Think about that. Faith without works is dead, but we are saved by grace through faith. So, what does faith without works is dead mean? Well, it doesn't mean go out and earn brownie points, because your heart's not in the right place. Faith without works is dead is referring to that natural calling, the natural inkling to go out and display your faith, to show your love for Christ. That's what faith without works is dead means. Think about that. What's the meaning of life? Well, Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5:16, he says, "Always be joyful, never stop praying, and be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Jesus Christ." So what does this mean? What is the meaning of life? Love God. And there's your answer to the age-old question, Did you know that the first Christians didn't consider themselves Christian? In fact, they still considered themselves Jewish. It wasn't until later where they were called and referred to as Christian.